Is it possible to write and independently publish nature books and travel books? It's early March. I'm here in the beautiful Green Lane in Cornwall, in England, southwest England. And in this video, I'm going to answer, yes, it is absolutely possible to write and independently or self-publish nature and travel books. And I'll outline how I go about the process. So first, I'll say I've been walking around for about the last half an hour actually writing. So I use voice to text technology in my iPhone mini to get the first draft of quite a few of the chapters I write in my own nature books. And that kind of indicates that it's possible to literally write anywhere in the world with the minimal kind of pieces of hardware and software like an iPhone mini 13, which is what I'm using, or have been using earlier today to get some of my words down using voice to text technology that's built into the phone. So you may think it's actually better to get a proper publisher so they can get your book out into the world once you've written it, get it properly formatted with a beautiful cover, and get it selling in bookshops. That's obviously surely the most effective way to write and publish nature and travel books. Well, not really. You can effectively do most of the process yourself. God, I do love spring. All these primroses in flower along these green lanes. It's absolutely superb. So let's just quickly outline my own process for first drafting and then independently or self-publishing my books. I should say I've got about 7 books, well I have got 7 books out as I'm recording this, all of which were independently published. So however you get your book published, you're going to have to draft the manuscript. How do I go about doing that? So probably averaging around 50 to 60% of the words I write in my first draft manuscripts are done using voice to text technology in my iPhone mini. I use a very popular software app called Scrivener, and there's a link to that in the description below for this video. I use Scrivener. It costs about £49, I think. I'll clarify that in the description, but it's basically a very popular piece of software that longer form writers, you know, the writers of novels and PhD theses, that kind of stuff, and non-fiction writers, it's a piece of software they use to write their manuscripts, and that's what I use. So I've got Scrivener on my iPhone mini 13, and you open Scrivener, create a chapter, and then activate the voice to text functionality that's already built into the operating system on Apple iOS and also Android phones, and you start talking. And just as I'm talking to this video now, I could equally be talking into a microphone attached to my mobile phone, and that's how I get most of my, well, between 50 and 60% I would have said, of my words for my first draft manuscript down on paper, by which I mean digital paper, of course. I don't actually physically handwrite much at all anymore, unfortunately. So that's how I get 50 to 60% of my words down using voice to text functionality. Those words are then synced using Dropbox on the cloud in Dropbox, and I can then open the desktop version of Scrivener, that writing app, on my I use a MacBook Air, and there I can start typing additional words into what I've drafted when I was walking around. It's just worth saying I absolutely love using the voice to text approach, because you can literally just walk around as I am now. I'm shooting a video now, but as I said just a minute ago, I could equally be walking around just talking into my phone and writing an early draft of my manuscript that way. And I can do this anywhere in the world. So more often than not, I'm in Ventnor on the Isle of Wight, where I walk up and down on the beach writing. I look a bit odd, but so be it. Here I'm walking on campus, Penryn campus in Cornwall, on a beautiful, murky, overcast, wet typical Cornish spring day. So that's how I get most of my words down. I open up the desktop version of Scrivener on my MacBook Air, and I finish off the manuscript. So that gives me a draft manuscript. What do I do then to get the words actually edited? So at this stage, if you've got a draft manuscript and you've got a publisher, you'd probably email your manuscript to a publisher, and if they are reasonably happy with what they see, they'll assign an editor to knock the manuscript into shape. This is an independent publisher. I don't have an editor kind of assigned to me by a publisher, so I have to lead that bit of the process myself. How do I go about doing that? Well, initially I'll do self-editing, by which I mean I'll just run through the manuscript. I won't do this as I'm writing it. I'll do this at the end. Once I'm reasonably happy that I've got the first draft of a manuscript done, I'll then turn to editing. And I'll just simply run through the manuscript a few times on my MacBook Air. And then after a few run-throughs, I'll email a copy to my Kindle device. So basically I've then got a kind of a digital version of my draft manuscript, and I'll edit it using the Kindle app on my mobile phone and also my MacBook Air. It just gives a different format, and with the different format of the manuscript you tend to pick up different kind of editing requirements. So I run through that kind of self-editing process myself a few times, after which I open up this other additional piece of software called Pro Writing Aid. So there's an additional expense there, so I had to purchase Pro Writing Aid, and I think that was another about £150. So we've already paid for Scrivener, which is about £45-50. We also need to pay for Pro Writing Aid, which is about 150 odd. I'll open up Pro Writing Aid, and that's a really advanced manuscript editing and kind of sentence construction, structuring kind of piece of software. It's superb. And if it's a relatively short manuscript, several run-throughs with Pro Writing Aid and self-editing myself. There's a very noisy robin there, interrupting my flow. But yeah, after a few run-throughs, if it's a relatively short manuscript, like 20 to 30,000 words, I think I can do most of the editing myself. But if not, if it's a longer manuscript or I'm not confident that I can do all the editing myself, it's very, very easy to commission a freelance editor. So how on earth do you find a freelance editor? Very good question. So I would suggest joining the Alliance of Independent Authors, which is it's an association that basically represents and helps independent authors like me to write and self-publish their books. So join the Alliance of Independent Authors, and they have a directory for members of independent book editors, and you can select an independent book editor and commission them to properly edit your manuscript. And that's dead easy. You know, you'll find that publishers use the same independent freelance editors as you'll find on those kind of online directories. A lot of the editors these days are freelancers rather than staff editors within publishers. This is a beautiful orchard here on a Penryn campus in Cornwall. Look at these lichens on the trees, and the old apple trees, absolutely beautiful. There's a chiff-chaff over there somewhere. So yeah, get the book edited. So we got through the editing process. We now have a finished manuscript in theory. No publisher has been required yet to get us to this stage. What do we need to do next? So just to reiterate, so far everything we've done can be done from anywhere in the world. So now we've got our finished manuscript, we need to find a way of actually turning our finished manuscript into a book. What do I mean by a book? Well, there are several formats that, as an independent publisher, I would urge you to publish in. One is an ebook, second is a paperback, then there's a hardcover, and finally there's an audiobook. So publish in all of those formats. That's an ebook, paperback, hardcover and an ebook. But how do you go about formatting your book? Let's deal with ebook first, because that's relatively straightforward. So what you're going to need to do is to turn your finished manuscript, which is still sitting in Scrivener, that piece of software, format that manuscript into an EPUB document. An EPUB is basically a digital file that can be read on the major ebook readers like Kindles and Apple Books app, that kind of stuff, and is it Kobos, Nooks, those kind of things. There are various kind of ebook readers, and also the apps you can get on your mobile phone or your iPad mini or your Android book reading device. So they basically, most of them read EPUB type format files, and you're going to need to format your book into a EPUB document. And that's easy. So what do I do? Well, there's this organisation or this company called Draft2 Digital. That's draft and then the number 2 and then digital.com, I think. And they have a free book formatting tool, both ebooks and paperback formatting tool. So what I would do is, set up an account with Draft2 Digital, and then once you've set up your account, you can upload your draft manuscripts. You kind of compile it out as Scrivener as a Word type document, a docx type document. Then you can upload it to Draft2 Digital, and you can use their free formatting tool. So that's what I would do. And once it's formatted as a EPUB document, you can export it out and then save that EPUB manuscript on your computer to later upload onto online retail platforms and onto your own kind of website. You're going to sell this directly. But we're not there yet. We now need to create a book cover. Now again, if you've joined the Alliance of Independent Authors, Ally, to get into their directory of editors, you'll also find they have a directory of book cover designers. Now most independent book writers and publishers would recommend commissioning a freelance book cover designer. You can do that. I've not yet had the funds to be able to do that. It can cost, anything between £100 up to £600-800 for just one book cover. I can't afford that at the moment, so I do the book cover design myself. And to do that, I use another free piece of online software called Canva. So set up an account in Canva, use the search bar to find ebook cover, and it will give you various templates, and you can select a template and use that as a basis to design your own book cover. I've done that. It's straightforward to come up with a book cover of some sort. Whether the book cover is actually any good kind of depends on your own kind of skill levels and eye for graphic design and getting appropriate kind of photograph or imagery for the book cover and selecting the right kind of text, etc. But it can all be done for free using Canva. Again, there are links to all these bits of software and apps in the description for this video below. So let's assume you've finished your book cover design and you're happy with it. You decided to do it yourself. You download a copy as a print PDF, and it's just one file that you download from Canva for the ebook cover. Incidentally, you will use this ebook cover as the basis for a paperback and hardback cover later, but for now we're just dealing with the ebook. So you've downloaded that, you've saved the PDF print version of your ebook cover alongside your EPUB file, and we're now going to turn to actually publishing the ebook. Surely you now need to find a publisher. You can't just publish it yourself, can you? Well, yes, you can. So the most obvious, the most straightforward way of publishing your book is to go onto Amazon and publish it via Kindle Direct Publishing, or KDP. So to do that, if you've already got an Amazon account, it's straightforward. You just create a KDP account within Amazon using your Amazon customer account credentials, and within the Amazon KDP dashboard there's everything you'll need to actually upload your two files, your EPUB file and your ebook cover. upload it to KDP, your dashboard, and fill in lots and lots of metadata. It's not too, it'll probably take you about half an hour to do this. You fill in the various bits of information they request, like author name and book title and book description, pricing, all that kind of stuff. And once you've done all of that, and everything's uploaded and you've checked it using their previewer, you upload, and within up to about 36 hours, your book will be published on Amazon's kind of global bookstore. This is obviously a very fast run through of a relatively tractable, straightforward process. You've noticed that you've now published an ebook, you've not needed a publisher, and if you're like me, you've gone through all the steps absolutely free. You've spent, well, apart from spending money on software and pro writing aid, you've not spent any other money on book cover or book formatting or actually publishing the book. It's all been done completely for free so far. So I'm losing my voice and I need a coffee. So in part 2 of this video, which I'll upload tomorrow probably, I will outline how to go on to publish a paperback and hardcover version of your book. And then in part 3 we'll look at ebooks. So I know we'll look at audiobooks.